Good afternoon again. This is Rob Kelly. After my presentation ended, I'm sitting here in the courtroom with a couple of employees, and they started asking me questions. So I thought maybe I'd come back with a little addendum to explain some things that they thought would be beneficial for you to understand. The way I approach this is I want to talk about deficit budgets. I've explained that I sat 2 years observing, and they adopted 2 deficit budgets. I've been in this chair for 6 years, and I propose now this is my 6th deficit budget. And in those 8 years, not one single year has there been a deficit, even though it's been budgeted. In my first year, I made it on a crusade to try to balance the budget. A lot of y'all remember that ill-fated effort. But I tried to explain that there are certain functions that we have to perform as a county that are mandated by either the Constitution or statute, and then there are things that we choose to do voluntarily. And one of those was animal control. We are responsible for managing rabies in the county, and you can read that as narrowly or broadly as you want, but it certainly didn't include the expansive requests that we were getting from the public, and we've since responded to that. But what I wanted to emphasize is I tried to balance the budget, and it won't balance. And I know that sounds kind of weird coming from me, but it won't balance. And it hasn't, and I don't think it ever will. And the reason for that is we live in a very conservative county, in a very conservative part of the state, and we are very conservative people, and conservative people plan ahead. They don't like running out of money. Make sure they've got money in the savings account. And because of that, they plan for possible contingencies that might occur so that they're prepared for the rainy day. And it applies equally to our department heads and elected officials here at Kerr County. And by doing that, what they do is subconsciously they create their own little contingency fund, or ask for just a little bit more than they might otherwise because they know that something could happen and they want to be prepared for it. And so while we at the county have a contingency fund, I think it's $750,000, which is meant to be used countywide, each department and each person that works with the budget has their own safety net built into their ask. And as a result of that, all of that money doesn't get spent. In fact, most of the contingencies that people plan for don't even occur. And so here we've set aside money earmarked for certain catastrophes or events that may happen that don't happen, and we don't spend the money. And that's been true for 8 years in a row that I've watched. And so I call it a myth. What we really do at the county is over budget. And it's not a willful, deliberate act of defiance or disobedience. It's just our nature to err on the side of asking for how much we think we might need. And so the cumulative effect of that over budgeting is that at the end of each fiscal year, and here we are, we're approaching the end of fiscal year 24, which will be the end of September. We actually have money that comes back into the general fund from the various departments and offices this time of year. And you'll see us do a number of budget amendments every time we meet, trying to get things trued up to finish out that fiscal year. And a good example of that is if we go back and look at the spreadsheet, the budget. I was looking at it a few months ago when I gave that talk to the Republican women. The auditor and I sat down and tried to project how much money we thought we were going to have in the bank at the end of this year. And that shows up on your spreadsheet right here on the right-hand side, the next to the last column. or on the left side. It's on the left side. That was what it's going to be next year. This year, what we're expecting is 19 million in the bank. When I gave that talk a few months ago, you know what we were projecting? 16 million. That much more money has come back into the general fund, $3 million in the last few months, as part of these budget amendments of the money not being spent. And so I learned not to, well, I never ignore a deficit number, but I've learned to have some appetite and tolerance with them because of the way county government works. And I just wanted to come back on the record and have something on YouTube for the public to be able to follow my explanation of that. Another question that was asked by one of the employees here was, if it's a no new revenue budget, which it is, and there's no new tax money, where does the money come from? Well, I know you always have to explain to people that the county is not responsible for the appraised value of your property. The tax appraisal district is, Central Appraisal District, KCAD. They do that, and that is controlled through the comptroller of the state of Texas, not through anything on the county side. And when they raise these appraised values, that generates more revenue for us. And new construction, when you build new things in a county, that adds value to it. When you take something off of the ag and put it into fair market value, that increases it. And Kerr County is, as you know, a very attractive place that people want to buy in and are coming and are preparing for them. But as these subdivisions fill out, that adds new value for the county. So I was trying to respond to one of the questions that I got here. So that's all I can. Was there anything else that we talked about that we ought to talk about? Well, anyway, I just want to provide that information for the public. And of course, if you have any questions, we're going to be here Monday morning at 9 o'clock and again at 2 o'clock. Thank you.